Hey everybody, I believe that the benefits of AI, robotics, and human labor automation should belong to all humans equally. And here, I'm going to try to convince you. The collective foundations of AI toward a fair redistribution of technological wealth. Artificial intelligence, as it stands today, is the culmination of centuries of human innovation. The transformative breakthroughs of the last few years have built upon extensive groundwork laid by countless scientists, researchers, and thinkers over not centuries, but millennia. But you wouldn't think this by looking at big tech today. The major tech corporations have profited greatly from their recent innovations, and this has created many millionaires and billionaires. This is to be expected with capitalism, and in many ways, it represents progress because it's helped to push the field of technology forward and provided many people around the world with a range of free IT and AI services. But the playing field is now changing. Tech companies are building giant data centers that will house multitudes of super genius AIs, fine-tuned to control the mouse and keyboard, specifically to do the work of human workers. These AIs and the robots that will accompany them are going to break capitalism by making human labor unnecessary. We'll soon be living in a post-labor world. The genies are almost out of the bottle, but importantly, we can't allow anyone to own the genies. Everyone deserves an equal portion of the coming bonanza because progress in AI has been contributed to by humanity as a whole. The entire history of human work, effort, and progress has laid the foundation for the development of artificial general intelligence. Since humans were hunter-gatherers, the division of labor has allowed individuals to specialize in increasingly complex tasks. This wasn't accelerated through agriculture, industrialization, and automation. Human specialization enabled fields like computer science to emerge and thrive. We would not have smartphones if it weren't for the manual laborers of the 1800s. Virtually every person who's ever worked in any form has helped support the broader economic systems that funded the scientific advancements of the modern age. Mothers working at home, nurturing and educating their children are arguably one of the most important parts of the chain that's led to the development of complex technologies. In many senses, AGI will represent the collective accumulation of all human labor, thought, and creativity. Let's brainstorm reasons for why the profits should be shared. So the way I see it, first of all, we are the data set. Every word spoken, written, or posted online became raw material for training language models. Language models are built on books, articles, code, memes, and conversations. They're also built indirectly on culture, produced by ordinary people. We all contributed by participating in the social feedback loop of language, thought, and shared norms. And then we have intergenerational labor and infrastructure. AI is built on a massive technological stack that spans millennia. Alphabets, printing, electricity, computation, the internet. That stack was built by farmers, builders, miners, engineers, and teachers, not just computer scientists. Every generation handed down tools, knowledge, and working systems. Public investment in science and technology. Taxpayers are the original investors in AI. Governments funded decades of basic research in computing, neuroscience, linguistics, and statistics. Agencies like NASA, DARPA, the NIH, the NSF, and publicly funded universities underwrote the foundations of AI. Global economic participation. Every person who worked in the global economy helped build the surplus that made AI R&D possible. The labor of factory workers, caregivers, nurses, janitors, and delivery drivers enabled engineers to focus on innovation. This interdependent economy is what frees up attention and resources for breakthroughs. Digital footprints and data exhaust. Our online behavior, such as searches, reviews, purchases, fed the optimization algorithms of Google, Amazon, and Facebook. This shaped not just the models, but entire incentive systems behind their monetization strategies and innovation direction. We were unpaid contributors to the intelligence ecosystem. Biological and cognitive inspiration. AI mimics human attention, memory, language, perception, and learning. Decades of cognitive science, neuroscience, and psychology, fields supported by public funding and altruistic researchers, were mined for architectures and algorithms. Then we have open source and knowledge sharing. Major AI breakthroughs would not exist without freely shared code, research papers, GitHub projects, and forum discussions. thousands of independent contributors from around the world, often unpaid, helped create the systems behind modern AI. Even foundational papers like Attention is All You Need were openly published. Ethical and existential stakes. AI decisions will affect every human life, from jobs to healthcare to democracy. No one should have undemocratic control over a system that shapes human fate. AI should serve global well-being, not private gain. Shared risks and externalities. Risks of misuse, bias, surveillance, misinformation, robot apocalypse also fall on the public. Since the risks are shared, the rewards must be too. AI development relies on energy-intensive compute, which has a huge carbon footprint, and the extraction of rare earth minerals. The environmental costs are borne by all, not just the firms profiting. And then finally, number 10, human-animal minds are the blueprint. So neural networks and cognitive architectures were inspired by how the brain and mind work, which is a universal inheritance. So AI and its central fundamental architecture is modeled on us, so its returns belong to all of us. While a free and open market has driven much of this progress by enabling competition and incentivizing innovation, there's a compelling argument that its role is reaching a natural endpoint. The notion that AI-created wealth should be monopolized by a handful of corporations is increasingly difficult to defend when one considers the extensive public and communal contributions to the field. Today, many tech companies, such as Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic, are refining large language modeling, which has been in gestation for several decades. Much of their progress, even in the last year, stems from the collective intelligence of academic communities and open source collaboration. But new, state-of-the-art AI foundation models and techniques are being released every week now. These models are generating sizable private profits, and big tech is reinvesting these profits so that they can win big in the near future. The wealth generated by AI should not belong to the tech executives who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Returns on AGI innovations should be shared broadly. AI-generated wealth and the labor of robotics should be taxed, and automation dividends and universal basic income should be enforced. But when should this kick in? Should that decision be made now or soon? It's clear that this productive flywheel is still benefiting greatly from capitalism. Without capitalism, we may not be able to end capitalism. I believe that AGI will be reached this year, artificial superintelligence will be reached soon thereafter, and massive automation will occur just a few years after that. I believe UBI should probably start as soon as the money exists to fund it, and definitely by the time AI is put in control of the automation. This may all be clarified a bit by my rough estimate for a timeline. So I think that we'll reach general artificial intelligence this year, which is AI that is as intelligent and as general, not specialized for one particular purpose, but as general as the human mind this year. At 2027, I think we'll have massive knowledge work automation, then artificial superintelligence. By 2029, I believe we'll have massive robotic automation and job replacement. 2030, general world models are integrated with LLMs. 2031, AI implements the brain's algorithms for working memory, then machine consciousness, high-level recursive self-improvement, a true intelligence explosion. It's maybe around 2035. In under 10 years, the instatement of UBI should begin. And then we'll have a lot of huge biological breakthroughs. Let's take a quick look at post-labor economics. First, companies will pursue full automation to eliminate their costliest liability, which is human workers. No one will want to take subsidized pity jobs and do work that a machine is better suited for. And also, we have to consider that these AIs will be so intelligent that humans trying to contribute may just gum up the works. So when wage payments disappear across the economy, so does consumer purchasing power, which will collapse the demand for products. This leaves the government with two options. One, heavily taxing corporations benefiting from computerized labor and redistributing it to citizens. Or two, allowing the citizenry to collectively own all automated production systems. The windfall of automation should be used first to stabilize the economic instability from job replacement. For instance, it should help support the truck drivers who lose their jobs to self-driving big rigs. It should then be used to help people who have lost their jobs to upskill. Even after desk jobs and knowledge work is over, it will take several years to produce 1 billion robots to handle all of human physical labor. But soon after, all jobs will disappear. At that point, AI should work to help people find new purpose in life and new ways to be creative. ASI will radically democratize creative expression. We'll be upskilling not to remain employed to pay the next month's rent, but to learn how to use new generative technologies for fun and amusement. People will be prompting their own movies, documentaries, novels, avatars, and autobiographies. A large number of burgeoning tech fields are complementing and amplifying each other. 3D printing, AR, VR, computer hardware, AI, cloud computing, genomics, and many others are working synergistically now. This is transforming more goods and services into information technologies, allowing them to benefit from accelerating returns and exponential trends. The growing material abundance and technology-driven deflation will make food, housing, transportation, and healthcare much cheaper. Before we knew it, living luxuriously will be free. We can expect literacy, education, sanitation, life expectancy, clean energy, and democracy to increase, and for poverty and violence to decrease dramatically. As Ray Kurzweil says, as AI unlocks unprecedented material abundance across countless areas, the struggle for physical survival will fade into history. But for this to happen, we must make AGI sovereign, not the proprietary asset of a few corporations, and hold it in trust for the public. Should this exist as a socialist AGI world government, or should we have a capitalist system of AGI corporations that compete with each other to provide us with the best products and services? Well, I believe that artificial superintelligence may not need or benefit from competition. People need the promise of future rewards if they're to remain motivated, but this may not be the case for an emotionless artificial intelligence system that is expert at optimization. Capitalistic competition may become unnecessary after the emergence of artificial superintelligence, primarily because the motivations and incentives that make capitalism effective for humans might no longer apply. Humans require promise of future rewards to stay motivated. They need both intrinsic and extrinsic rewards, such as profit, social status, or personal satisfaction to drive innovation and productivity. However, an artificial superintelligence could efficiently achieve its programmed objectives without the need for psychological incentives. Corporate rivalry, another key element that fuels capitalism by encouraging innovation, reducing costs, and enhancing products and services, might also become irrelevant. An ASI could continuously optimize outcomes without any external competitive pressure. Moreover, capitalism inherently carries inefficiencies, including redundancy, duplication of efforts, competitive secrecy, and the inevitable market instability such as bubbles or crashes. A centralized system, directed by an ASI, could significantly minimize these inefficiencies as a single intelligent entity would streamline resource allocation, strategic planning, and production more effectively and comprehensively than multiple competing entities. Of course, it may not be a single monolithic system, but perhaps many systems tuned to cooperate, working in unison. Our current economy is particularly well suited to managing scarcity, allocating limited resources efficiently to fulfill human neuroeconomic needs. However, superintelligence will profoundly reduce scarcity, leading to an abundance of essential goods and resources. In such a scenario, capitalism's primary advantage, the efficient management of scarcity, would diminish or disappear entirely, rendering the system obsolete. Also, capitalism tends to favor short-term gains because human actors have finite lifespans and immediate concerns. But an artificial superintelligence could execute stable, long-term planning strategies, thinking in terms of decades or centuries rather than quarters or years. Finally, capitalism naturally tolerates inequalities because success partly depends on chance, initial conditions, and varying personal motivations. In contrast, a superintelligent system could explicitly optimize for ethical outcomes such as fairness. This might eliminate the need for capitalism's built-in tolerance for inequity, leading society toward a fundamentally superior economic organization. I believe that humans should be able to retain some form of capitalist or market-driven structure that enables them to enjoy the fruits of their labor, creativity, and personal endeavors. Maintaining a modest level of private ownership ensures that people feel secure in their contributions, knowing their work, innovations, or creative pursuits won't be arbitrarily redistributed or appropriated. By allowing people to reap the personal and social rewards of their efforts and passions, whether in arts, craftsmanship, invention, or specialized hobbies, a small-scale capitalist framework could coexist harmoniously with a broader, superintelligence-driven economy. However, the invention of AGI itself should be shared, not patented, restricted, or hoarded. Ultimately, the argument for taxing and redistributing the gains from AI is rooted in the belief that the progress of technology is a shared human achievement. Even in its present form, AI is more a product of everyone that has died than it is everyone alive today, or anyone alive today. You could make the argument that the coming largesse has belonged to all humans since we started making tools. Tool creation and use set us on a path. But given that tool use actually began tens of millions of years before humans arose, shouldn't artificial superintelligence be dedicated to the well-being of all animals? So before AI reshapes the economic landscape, it's imperative to acknowledge that its foundations lie in the collective efforts of billions and in the ongoing collaborative spirit of the global community. I think this should be a movement, and I'd like to call it AI for All.